Welcome to another installment of Ron Ruth Presents right here on DJN TV, and I am so excited to have as my special guest today Mark Cpin with Diamond MC Entertainment, and Mark is actually a co-owner with his lovely wife Elena. And Mark, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing really good. It's finally warmed up outside, and we're no longer in the 40s. It's actually 80 today, so get moving up in the world. Finally melting the snow.
80s in Minnesota, man. That's got to be kind of like almost scary. It's like, what's going on? It got really, really warm, and it's not even summer yet. So
well, and we can't even handle it because it rained yesterday. So then what we got was the hot, humid stuff, and we're good with hot. But then once we add the humidity, boy, then it just we don't know what to do with ourselves. We just lay on the couch or on the bathroom floor.
Lost, dazed, and confused in Minnesota. So, Mark, the reason that we're talking this evening is because you are doing some incredible work as far as keeping busy, from what I understand, during this interruption in life and business that is known as COVID at this point. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about it? Tell me some of the things that you're doing.
Well, I've after everything kind of looked like it wasn't going back all that quick, I started looking at different ideas of what can I do to keep this going, and what are some things that I can offer right now from a different standpoint, and I started looking into different virtual things, and so I started live streaming some sets, and that was fun. And then I started, of course, like every other DJ, started getting taken down or cut off for copyright. And then I started looking into, what programs I could use that wouldn't do that, and found my way to Zoom, which I had Zoom. But after a bunch of research, I was kind of looking into, okay, well, how can I pack the most amount of guests onto a screen and not have to deal with the copyright stuff and kind of get around everything. And A led to B led to C, and now I know more about audio-visual stuff than I think I ever really wanted to. But it's good. And what's nice, about us talking is people are going to get this from a real amateur standpoint. So as they say, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talks with Ben Stowe. There's been a lot of YouTube videos. There's been a lot of monkeying with stuff and looking around at all kinds of different things. And so I've got a bunch of different things that I'm offering both as options, to do right now, and then options for clients for later. So at the moment, what I'm doing right now is virtual kids dance parties are one thing that I'm doing. And so basically, with kids being stuck at home and they're not able to go see their friends, and so birthday parties for them kind of just began to be a bummer. So I wanted to do something that would help bring the families together and entertain the kids. And I do a lot of work with kids parties around here in a live aspect. And I thought, let's try doing it in a virtual aspect. So I did that. I did my first one, and it was just a blast. Got the audio kinks all worked out, and got a Zoom, and got about 13 different family members and friends in there. And honestly, after the first few minutes of awkwardness, it really genuinely felt like I was just right in front of the crowd, and as if I was doing it live. It was nice, and when I've told this to a few other DJ friends, they've said virtual parties. Well, that's just not the same. I'm telling you, it is. It's a little awkward right off the bat, but once you start just interacting with them and forget that you're virtual, and just start doing what you normally do, that muscle memory that you have built up, what does it matter if they're on a screen, or if they're in person? is how engaging you are. It's your personality. It's how creative you are, what you're doing with them.
Right.
And we had family members doing the hokey pokey, and we had little girls twirling and singing Frozen at the top of their lungs. And we had we did the chicken dance, and the little birthday girl who turned 4 said afterwards that it was her best birthday she's ever had.
Well, and with 4 of them, I mean, come on, that's quite a compliment. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
You got to wonder. You got to wonder who her DJ was when she turned 3. I mean, that.
Yeah. He probably used a subpar webcam.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Or she, yeah, either way. Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm doing now, and there's different things that I've got.
Let's dwell on this for a moment on the kids' virtual parties. All right. So how long are these parties, Mark?
So I'm doing a virtual birthday party or a virtual dance party for about an hour a piece.
Okay.
And if they want more or less, they can certainly add that. But it's kind of based off of the interactive parties that I was doing with kids live, and those were 1-hour programs. Okay. And so I kind of I tweaked those and just basically took the same content and made it virtual. So, yep,
and I'm not asking,
1-hour parties.
Again, I'm not asking you to give away fees or anything, but are you charging for this, or is this is it a suggested donation? Are you actually charging a fee for this? Which way are you going?
I am charging a fee for this.
Okay.
And so.
Okay. Okay, and then how are you marketing this?
Mainly through Facebook. When you're looking for certain demographics, certain social media platforms come into play. And if you want the moms and dads with the young kids, or the kind of, the little bit older kids, you want Facebook. If you want, like the teens and the college age, then you probably want Instagram or TikTok or something like that. But in my case, for the kids' parties, I'm doing some paid marketing on Facebook, reaching parents with kids or young kids or different activities. Kids' parties, dances, birthdays.
Interesting. Have you attracted any audiences outside of your market, which is Duluth, Minnesota, which puts you somewhere close to Minneapolis, right? Or am I wrong?
It does. Yep.
Okay.
I haven't really marketed to that yet. It's something that I thought about, because obviously now with this being virtual, I can do this anywhere.
Right.
So
yeah,
I don't.
Serious.
Yeah, I don't need to be in Duluth doing it. I can do this, these parties for Ohio or Michigan or
right.
California or something like that. So that's kind of a next step, but.
So my final question in regards to this is, what about, I heard you talking about families with kids and that sort of thing. Is there a specific age group you're aiming at?
I'm aiming roughly for around the 3 to 7-year-old group.
Okay.
And that's, again, it really kind of just coincides with the parties that I was doing. Those were targeted towards 3 to 7-year-olds, because there's a lot of dances and a lot of interactions in there that are really made for them. And so, for somebody that's wanting to get into this, who doesn't have kids, if it's something that you're interested, obviously you can talk to me. I'm an open book. I'd happily share all the things that you want to do, and probably a few things that you want to stay away from.
Right.
Because I ran into this issue or that issue, but Spotify is honestly going to be your best friend there, because that's where parents are playing music for their kids, and that's where a lot of kids' music is. And I have gotten a lot of interactive dances that age group is listening to through Spotify, just because that's what my kids are listening to too. Right. So songs like "We Are the Dinosaurs" and "It's Raining Tacos" and all these other. Yep. My wife literally was just singing "It's Raining Men" the other night because it was on America's Got Talent, and my daughter interrupts her. She's just about to be 3, and she goes, "No, Mama, it's raining tacos." That's right, baby. It's raining tacos. You're
I
right.
want to live where it rains tacos. That's where I'd like to live. Yes. Okay.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so really quick, one of the you can spice things up by adding just a simple background. The birthday party that I did before, I didn't have a green screen yet, and I was hoping to get one because she was a big fan of unicorns, and so I found a unicorn happy birthday backdrop that I was going to put behind me, and I didn't get there in time, and I was kind of bummed about that. But going forward, other birthday parties and other things like that, I'll be able to use different backdrops to accent and different overlays, and just make it fun like that.
Well, I think that's going to be a great transition for us to move into you're doing, because I was thinking backdrops, I'm thinking of bride and groom's names, and you're doing virtual weddings also, are you not?
I am. So right off the bat, that has gotten to be, it's been nice because I'm starting to get contacted by August couples. I think, I'm in that bubble where I missed kind of the June, July weddings. Those already kind of went off before I could get this all put together. And my August couples have been just kind of holding their breath and just trying to wait and see what's happening. But now I'm starting to get those phone calls and those emails. And of the two couples that I've talked to so far already about this, they came into the conversation stressed. And then when I told them, hey, we can do this virtually, and we can do a virtual ceremony, and this is what it looks like, and this is how it works. It was a stress reliever for them, and it was nice for me to just be able to say, hey, I've got options for you. I'm not just, sorry, we can't do anything. I've got something to tell you.
Right.
And so effectively, what I'm doing is I've got a couple of pillars where I have, the skirted, and then I've got screens on them, and I'm able to do social media screens through Jamtext. I don't know if you're familiar with that software, but basically we market it up here as a text to screen. So all throughout the event, guests can text or email or tweet images that they're taking at the wedding up to the screens, or they can put, big congratulations text messages up there, things like that. And so it's been, really huge for us as just kind of an alternative to like a photo booth or disposable cameras. Well, we've already got the TVs, we've got the pillars, everything's ready to go. And so with Zoom, I found out that with an add-on, you can have up to 100 participants with their screens showing. Right. And so, when I started diving into this, I said, well, why not have them there just on the Zoom screens instead? And so I'd set up a pillar on the bride side, a pillar on the groom side of the aisle, and have those TVs up there, and the bride would walk down the aisle, and we'd have a camera that follow her all the way up, and then we'd have a camera at the altar, and we'd have microphones, and all the audio would be going through our system, and so it would be going to not only Zoom but also live, so any immediate family that was there could hear everything. And so now the bride and groom are getting married, and they can look back and see all their family members in little boxes on the screens, and then their family can be a part of the ceremony, and nobody has to miss out. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that the bride and groom can still have the wedding they want. It might look a little different, but their guests are still going to be there. They're still going to be watching. They're still going to be able to interact and see them and hear everything. And so, they're there, but they're not, essentially. So this is pretty cool. So are you doing these in homes? Are you doing this in a venue? Where are you doing this? Right now, with the couples that I've got, we're still continuing on with their original venues. Okay. So with the caveat that I tell them, hey, we can totally do this. This would be awesome, but we need to make sure there's rock solid internet there.
Right. That was my concern.
Yeah, if there's not, then then I can't really guarantee that the virtual end of it will really play out. But with our internet here, what we had before for a wireless router was garbage compared to what we've got now. And when I first started this out, I was running live streams off of that router with no hiccups, no glitches, no nothing. And so it doesn't take much to be able to do this. And I think most venues, already built-in Wi-Fi should handle it. And of course there's going to be those couples that, maybe they want to do it, at home, and that's even better because, then usually private networks are a lot stronger.
Yeah, that, and depending on the hotel, some hotels will allow you, it will have a cat hookup in the ballroom. Depending on the home, you might be able to run a cat line off of a modem, depending on where it is. My modem's right behind me, and so I run hardwire because it's more stable than doing it as wireless. So, have you done any of these yet, or are you still in the planning stages of all of this?
Still in the planning stages. We are marketing it to two couples in the area who would like to still get married that we maybe haven't spoken to yet.
Sure.
But initially we came up with this more for our own clients, just to give them something, give them an option.
Especially when their date rolls around and they're still in limbo as to and depending on governor's orders, what's going to happen. So one of the questions that came to mind was also, what kind of a camera are you using? You said you follow the bride and groom. Can you address that?
Yeah. So I've been diving into NDI cameras, and that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, because what I've got going on right here is wait.
I'm an old guy. What is an NDI? Sure. Thanks.
Sorry.
So what is an NDI camera?
It basically is a camera that runs through networks or through internet connection.
See, I knew that. I was testing you. Good answer.
So, think of it as a glorified webcam.
Got it.
And so I'm looking at those right now, and that's kind of the expensive component of all this. And so right now, for instance, I'm running through Zoom, but I am actually using what's called a virtual cam through a program called Ecamm. And so it's a streaming service, but you can tell it to be a virtual cam in Zoom. And so what that allows me to do is then do different camera angles using NDI cameras, so networked cameras. And so I can switch to that camera. Now you're seeing a different angle, and I can dual cam it. So then I can have one at the altar, but then I can point one, at the bride and groom walking down the aisle. And be able to do that. So is it
because of this software that you're able to have your logo going around in circles up there?
Yep.
Huh.
And so, like I said, the NDI cameras are the most expensive part. If you're going to do it, it's the cheapest one that I've seen is $800.
It's only money, man. What's the problem?
Yeah. But there's ways around it. If you're concerned that you're not being able to afford all of this, one of the easiest things you can do is just talk to Ben at NLFX and rent it. He's got all that stuff. He will gladly rent you anything that you need. And so, if you're just wanting to do this for the time being, you're not wanting to invest that money into, really nice NDI camera, that's something that you could talk to him about and just say, hey, can I rent this for a few hours on this day?
Yeah. Gives you a chance to experiment a little bit too, with different options. What was the name of the program one more time, please? The Camera?
Ecamm.
Ecamm.
So ECAMM.
Okay. All right, cool.
So, so with that, then I'm able to do this, where I can do ceremony starts in 4 minutes 55 seconds. I can do
That's fascinating. It's funny because
an overlay, so
I
we
think
can have a bride and groom right in the middle there.
I think I told you not long ago, you asked me how I was doing. I said, I feel like an old dog learning all sorts of new tricks. And it's amazing how much, every time I think, wow, that's really cool software. I see something somebody does, and then somebody else does something like this. I go, well, that's even cooler than what I saw. And it just seems like every day I'm seeing new stuff. I mean, this is pretty cool. I also been turned on to stream something. Oh, no, I can't.
StreamYard?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It looks fairly easy. I downloaded it. I haven't played with it yet, but
Well, and that's honestly why I did Ecamm. Like I said, I'm an amateur at all this. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
And so looking at programs like OBS and StreamYard, OBS is great. It's free. So if you have a little bit of computer knowledge, that's honestly probably the better way to go. I haven't messed with StreamYard too much, but what I like about Ecamm is it's live streaming and virtual camming and overlays and stuff for dummies, basically. Can
you still share a screen? If you wanted to share a screen, can you do it? I'm not asking you to do it, but you can do it.
Yep, you can share a screen. You can do picture-in-picture. You can do all kinds of things. I chose Ecamm because it was user-friendly, and not knowing what I'm doing, that was just the best route for me. But OBS has got a lot more plugins. You can do a lot more.
Yeah, OBS is for me. It looks like a
monster, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge learning curve. It's like I don't know that I want to. Yeah, I'm getting totally off track here, so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I need to pull us back. That's my bad. I got excited about the software. We'll talk more about the software off air, because I do want to know more about it, and maybe I'll have you teach me how to use it, because I'm looking for stuff that'll allow me to do picture-in-picture, like with your logo spinning in the corner there. I'm guessing that I could do picture-in-picture. Yeah, like that. That would be.
Yep. That's an image,
right?
And those are my pillars, and then my screens. And that was at a kids event that I did. That was a Turtles themed. It was a mother-son superhero dance.
Can you move that to anywhere you want it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty. Okay. All right. Well, all right. We're off track.
Take and shrink it.
We got to get back on track. Okay. We'll talk more about this after the fact, and everybody else that wants to know more about it, call Mark.
Well, and then this is actually this is a ceremony I did. I was the officiant at this, and I used my social media screens and put a backdrop for the altar, because they didn't have an altar.
Yeah.
And so instead of doing an altar, I did the 2 TV screens on the pillars with their name and wedding date, and I found like a overlay, kind of sparkly, snowy thing that would sprinkle down, and I just looped the video on the screens over and over again, just plugging in a USB drive to the back of the TV, and I was able to give them a nice place to get married. And so, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we talked about virtual kids parties. We've talked about virtual weddings. What other virtually? What else are you doing?
Well, along the same lines for later on is virtual receptions, and that's kind of along the same lines as the virtual ceremonies, where I'd have my normal setup with my pillars and my lights and everything and my TVs, and then instead of the social media program, I'd have this up and running, and I'd have an NDI camera, or even just a webcam, just taking just the DJ's look of the room, just right at my table. And the webcam I've got that I'm using right now is amazing. It's a Logitech Brio, and it does different angles and stuff, so I can flip it around, and it will spin the screen so it's right side up, and so I can then use it to capture 60 degrees of the room, or 75 or 90. and just be able to capture that all. But I mean, of course, if you want to get fancy and just use an NDI camera and have like a head table view, you can do that too.
So the camera that you're using right now, the webcam, you can do like a bird's eye type. You know what it's called when it kind of goes?
It just has different angles.
Okay.
It has different viewing angles that you can do. You can do a 60-degree angle, which is a tighter shot.
I got it.
You can do, yeah. But I should note that if you wanted to get into something like an NDI camera for cheap, you already have one. And so let's see here. Where did it go? Oh, I must have lost it. That's all right. The screen I was showing you before, the sideways screen, was actually my cell phone. There's a free app. You just, in your app store, just type in NDI Camera, and you can download it quick, and this Ecamm program will register it.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So along with receptions, I started looking into what can I help my friends do, and I've got a lot of friends that do trivia, and so I said, well, why not do virtual trivia? Is something that you can do.
Right.
And in Zoom, you can take and charge people to enter your Zoom conference. And so when they click on the link, it will take them to PayPal, and they'd have to pay, $4.99 or whatever to get onto the conference call.
Right.
And then in Zoom itself, in conference mode, there's a hand raising feature. Right. And so you can do something like this with the Ecamm program. And you can have it pop up with this, and then it'll go through, what Jedi Master trained Luke Skywalker in Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and then A is YOLO, and B is Yo-Yo Ma.
Yo-Yo Ma.
C is Yoda, or D, Yo Mama.
So why I can quickly Google that real fast.
Yeah. Now I've got this. I made all these graphics that you're seeing. I made them free. I got them from Google searching. I found free lower thirds is what they're called, and free overlays, and then I put them into Keynote, which is basically PowerPoint.
Right.
And so C, Yoda is the correct answer. And so you just make a new slide, and you put in your overlay PNG files, and you add texts and do whatever, and then you save it as a movie and with a transparent background, and then you're able to drag and drop it right into the program. So now you've got a question, you've got answers, you can set a time limit, and so
you froze on me. Where'd you go?
you've got, you can. Oh, am I still there?
You're back. Yes.
Okay.
So you were saying you can save it as a movie, and then you just download it into the program, and you're all ready to go. What do you do about
drag and drop it?
So people are competitive; they like prizes. What do you do in that regard, or do you do anything in the way of prizes, or is this just you're paying for the fun of playing?
Well, with it being a lockdown, I thought an appropriate prize for winning trivia night would be an Amazon gift card. Everyone in the world is ordering through Amazon like crazy right now, and so they come on and they pay to play, and so you take half the money for yourself, and then you take the other half and put it towards the an Amazon gift card that you award to the winner, or however you want to work out the monetary details. But you can also market this to bars who used to do trivia nights all the time. You can be a virtual host. So once bars open up, if they still want to do trivia, but you can have them pay you to set it all up and do it for them, and they can worry about what prizes they want to give away and who's live and who's virtual and all that. You just can supply them the link and away you go. And then they can just pay you for it. That's
fascinating. Well, I've learned a lot today, Mark. I mean, my goodness, this has been an interesting conversation, and it's amazing to me. I'm of the belief, and people may be getting tired of hearing me say it, but that's, I'm of the belief that right now there is not going to be a new normal. That's not going to happen. And I'm of the belief that this is a business renaissance, that businesses have an opportunity. I don't care how long you've been in business. Businesses have an opportunity right now to start over and do new, exciting, inventive, creative things. I mean, stuff. It's a great time to take risks. Yeah. Customers right now are more accepting of little hiccups than they've ever been before, because they're dealing with more. Our customers now are dealing with the same thing that you and I are dealing with right now in this conversation, because they do this every day now with their boss. A lot of them are doing this with their employer. I mean, they're doing it 3, 4, 5 times a day. They understand what happens when a screen freezes up. They understand what happens when sound drops out. They understand all these things. When the internet, I was on a call not long ago with a group of people, and all of a sudden Comcast just decided, we're going to pull the plug for a little bit, and they just they pulled the plug on me, and so unfortunately it wasn't a customer of mine. It was like a think tank group, and so but it was still frustrating. It's like, what the heck just happened here? So, right. And then I couldn't even get back on my phone. I mean, it was, so at any rate. So it's
and I agree. What I keep hearing, I've seen so many companies that just aren't doing anything.
No.
And then I just talked to a guy today who works for a local multi-op, and he also works at Best Buy. So I was talking with him through the plexiglass, and I was telling him about this and what I was going to be talking about, and he goes, it's just not the same. But your clients don't care. They're looking for something like this. They're looking for options. They want to get married. They're willing to take a stab at something like this. And if you're not looking into some of this stuff, you should be, because even if we go back to work, a month from now, there's still going to be parts of the country that aren't. There's still going to be a need for a lot of these. I think what we're doing is really adding to our repertoire and adding to our value, and even if we go back, what's the harm in at least setting it all this up? And now, say you've got that family member that is overseas that can't be at the wedding. Well, now you can bring them in and they can be a part of the magical day, and so there's much more than just right now value in this. There's future value in this. And so, with a few people that I have seen in chat rooms and stuff, just saying, just wait, it's gonna clear up and everything's gonna go back to normal. Where it's those people that are waiting that are going to be left in the dirt, in the dust, when this all unravels. And now we've got options for different things, and they're like, well, now I have to start from square one because I was just thinking it was going to go back to normal.
And they're going to be behind the curve. And in that's my whole thinking. I mean, I'm a public speaker. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm not going to be getting back on the stage for a while. This is how I have to communicate with audiences. And you're absolutely right. For me, for you, for anybody in the entertainment industry, you're not going to be able to you're going to miss that connection that you used to have with audiences, where you could actually hear them and you could connect emotionally one-on-one with some people, and trust me, there will be, I'm sorry, there will be another disruption. We still have flu season coming in the fall. Even if you don't choose to do this, my suggestion to everyone in the DJ world, even if you choose not to do this, you need to at least learn the technology, learn what's available, learn how to use it, learn, it's kind of like, it's kind of like being on an airplane when they talk about, you know, the mask coming from the, you don't know when you're going to need that mask, but you best understand how it works when it drops down. So,
I mean, just standing there doing nothing is not, it's not productive. It's not productive for your clients who are looking for options. They're dying, you know, for options. So many of them, even if they have their party next year, they still want to get married this year. That's number one. What I'm hearing from every couple is, okay, well, we can't have our party, but we still want to get married. Can you still marry us?
Right. 2020. You know? Yeah. I mean, and part of it's the 2020 aspect of all of this is that it's got to be.
I mean, so even if it goes away, there's a chance it could come back. And even if it does go away after that, there's still options, and you're not wasting your time by looking into this. You're only adding value to your business, and you're only giving your customers peace of mind, and you're holding on to events that you might have lost because you weren't innovating and you said, well, I don't have an option for you, I'm shut down.
Right.
So, you know, couples are accepting of this. They're wanting it. They are excited about it. They're excited because before they thought it was just going to be mom and dad and that's it. And now they can virtually have their guests and they can have their birthday parties. They can have reunions, proms, all kinds of stuff that we didn't even talk about on this. You know, so there's value in this, and couples and people are looking for this. So,
and I love
get on it.
I love these conversations, and you and Rob Ferry, Howard Wallstein, Kristen Cole and her husband in Boise, Idaho. There are Rob Peters. There are a number of DJs out there that I've been hearing from, talking to, or been reading about who are just, you know, they're innovating. I mean, you know, I mean, when you look at this industry, I mean, the industry started back with albums, and then to tape, and then to CDs, and then to digital. Look, everything evolves. And if you're not willing to evolve with it, then you're going to get left behind. So with that, I'm going to climb off my soapbox. I'm going to thank you so much for your time and for your energy and for your enthusiasm and for your knowledge. I hate doing this to you because if you don't want to give this information, you don't have to.
Oh, sure.
Mark,
no,
if
absolutely.
People want to reach out to you and ask you questions about the things that we were talking about today, like me.
Best way is probably Facebook, honestly. Okay. I'm on Facebook a lot. They can find me there. Mark Cpin, Cpin. Just, you can friend request me there, or you send me a private message. You can check out my business page there. You can message me through there. My phone is always strapped to my hip, and so I always get all my notifications. And yeah, I'm absolutely happy to answer any and all questions because you know, I not only do I want to put me back to work, but I want my friends to go back to work too. And if you're interested in this, I'm happy to walk through every program, every hiccup that I've run into, everything that I've found out on, you know, what to tweak and how to tweak it to just help you maybe avoid, you know, some of the hours of steps that I went through. And I'm happy to do it. So
awesome. That's great. And thank you again. You've been great. And it's I've learned a lot from being involved in this evening. And I thank you for your time. For those of you that have been watching, if you'd like to get a hold of me, if you have any questions of me, it is, of course, ron@ronroos.com. And thank you so much for tuning into DJN TV and Ron Roos Presents. And I hope to see you again in a week. We're just pumping these. I've been doing more videos than ever before, so I hope to see all of you again next week. In the meantime, please stay safe and stay well, and we'll see you next time. Say goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye, Mark.